And to you, that's Dan Hartman, and I Can Dream About You from 1984, 12 to 8. I won't tell you, I did have a weird dream the other day, and the Dubbo Region Mayor was in it for some strange reason. Good morning to you, Matt Dickerson. How are you?
I'm a bit concerned now that you dream about me, but I know you do put the song on before I come on
You
thinking about me, so in that
think
case...
it's about you. we do some weird things around here. Now, I know that a previous host, a former host of Tutor Breakfast, used to do that on purpose, I think. But
You're saying you don't do it on purpose?
No. See, that's the music director that schedules the music here, because we have a way of making sure that people enjoy the music at Tutor You, and not just because I'm dreaming about you. But is that weird for someone to say they've dreamt about you?
well, it is a bit actually, Bret. Yes.
I thought it might be. Now, I would have been dreaming about you if I could have remembered the dream this morning. Because you were in an orange jumpsuit and locked up yesterday. What happened there? I mean, people probably don't know about this yet.
Well, Iran Support Services did a fundraiser, and one of the things I always find with fundraisers, there's so many different fundraisers out now, Bret. There's so many different people trying to raise money for different events, which is fantastic. It's a sign of a very strong community, that we've got community-minded people out there. You try and do something different. So Iran Support Services came up with the idea of, and it's not a new idea, it's been done before. I've actually participated in it before, and I've spoken to some former mayors of Dubbo who participated before, and they basically lock you up, and then you're allowed to keep your phone, which isn't normal in a prison cell, but the idea is to use your phone to ring people and say, can you help me? The guards will take a bribe. I need some money,
yeah, right.
And I just need to raise some money to be able to get myself out of prison. So it's quite a fun event, but they take it very seriously. I was sitting at the office at council yesterday just doing some paperwork, and in marched a guard and said, right, here we go, and I played along with it. Obviously, look, sure thing. So anyway, he's grabbed my hands, put them behind my back and handcuffed me, walked downstairs. There was a real police officer waiting downstairs, and he marched me around. Luckily, he didn't have his taser or his pepper spray out, so I was very obedient as we went around and put in a cell, and away you go. So there were a number of people down there as well. So former Deputy Mayor Richard Mutton was around there. Former Mayor Greg Matthews was locked up as well. Actually, no, I think Greg was on the run. He'd made an escape somewhere, and so he was on the run somewhere. So a number of people there. I saw Jamie Crump there. So they were all doing the same thing, raising money. And I don't actually know the final figure that was raised yet, because people were donating money online. So you'd hassle people and say, please go on this link and donate some money. So people did that for all the people there. And again, I haven't heard the final number from Tina Reynolds yet, but I'm sure I'll hear that number.
Fantastic. The money used for Irana Support Services, is that what it's going to be used for?
Yeah, they're looking specifically at youth homelessness, and so again, not something that council's directly responsible for, but if we can help promote and actually just look at the services that Irana Support Services offer and help fundraise for that. If me being locked up for an hour or so can help fundraise for that, then that seems like a good thing to me.
Did we end up finding Greg if he was on the run?
Well, I don't know. By the time I finally escaped, by the time I finally had enough money to bribe my guards off and let me get out of the place, I think he was still on the run at that stage. So I don't know the exact location of that. I think there was someone else. A couple of them were on the run. I think one of the guys was out of Broken Hill, so couldn't be dragged into the cells, so he had to be on the run as well.
Yeah, well, I wonder if they locked you up because of your reading of poetry just the other day. Was that what it was about? Because you were reading poetry, weren't you, too?
Oh no, Bret, I wasn't reading poetry. I was reciting poetry.
Reciting, I'm sorry. How did that go? Because you often do that, don't you?
I do, but the official crime I was charged with was a conspiracy to promote Dubbo. So I did say I'm guilty as charged.
That's
yes,
right. Yes, you do. Speaking of things like that, because I want to segue into a nice little win for the Dubbo Regional Theatre now. This is good news this morning, and they've picked up with the Dance Makers Collective. Together, they've won the 2024 PAC Australia Impact Award for the Saturday Night Social. This is great news for not only the theatre, but for the Dubbo region. Yeah,
definitely. And you was your segue with the poetry there, saying that I shouldn't be reciting poetry at aged care facilities like I normally do. I should be on the stage at Dubbo Regional Theatre and Convention Centre.
Yes, that's exactly. Have you been
I have done poetry on stage there during the Stedford when they've got their grand concert. I've done that. I did that when I was about 12 or 13 years of age, and I did it most recently 4 or 5 years ago. So it's been a few poems there. I don't know that was the main attraction, I must admit, Bret, but that was part of the show.
But I've learnt something new, reciting, not reading. So
well, you can read if you wish, but I
okay.
like to recite poetry.
Yes, that's very good. That's very good.
So the theatre, sorry, back to the theatre, the important part here. So that theatre is a wonderful theatre. One of the things that people say, that artists say, I know when I speak to artists that have been there, is that is a world-class international stage. The acoustics are spot on, the back of house is spot on. We attract artists there, Bret, because we've got the theatre at that level. There's no doubt about it that people and performances we have there, we would not have had in Dubbo but for the quality of that theatre. And winning awards, and that's not the first award we've won, it won't be the last award we've won. Winning awards there is really that exclamation mark, that full stop on well done to our staff, well done to the whole vision in the first place, well done for all of those things there. So congratulations to our staff for helping part of that award. But again, it is that wonderful bit of infrastructure we have that is a real benefit to our community.
Obviously, that helps attract other shows and other producers to select the theatre to show their shows, etc.
Winning awards is one of those things that it is nice, pat on the back when you do win an award for whatever it might be, but also it does help show people that you've got something that's obviously exceptional, and that's fantastic as well. One of the great things about the theatre, Bret, I love, is that it's a tourist attraction, and it's not, no one thought it, certainly I didn't think when we were planning that way back in 2006, 2007, we were putting a special rate variation through, opened in 2010. No one was thinking, wow, will be a tourist attraction. 35.4% of people that went to the theatre last year came from outside Dubbo Regional Council, LGA. So they're typically coming for a show, they might do some shopping, they might stay overnight. So they're actually injecting money into the economy just because of that theatre there. So it is a wonderful asset we have.
All right, I've got about 3 minutes. Two things. Book week, you were reading there, not just reciting, right?
I was reading, and I did do a bit of reciting as well. So I did read a book for Book Week, and it's one of those things that it's a nice thing that happens around all communities across the nation when you have Book Week, where they'll get dressed up, they go through a parade, but typically I'll go along to a school or maybe a couple of schools and actually read a book to the kids. In this case, I was over at Westover Public School reading a book to some kindergarten kids over there, and they love the fact that the mayor comes in, and I just do a normal book reading for them, but we do a bit of a Q&A for them as well, and they ask all sorts of interesting questions. They all want to know how much the mayor earns. That's a really interesting question. They all want to know how much money do you get paid. So that's something that maybe mum and dad talk about that at home, I'm not sure. So that's an interesting one. And then I did do a bit of poetry recital as well, because they did tell me at Westover Public School they're going to get more involved in the Eisteddfod next year for doing some recitals, some group recitals, the class recitals that they do during the Eisteddfod. So I did a poem for them, because sometimes I go to schools while the Eisteddfod season is on and just give them some hints and tips around poetry.
That'd be great for the students. Just quickly, you've got a fascinating story that you've shared with me. There's a college in Dubbo and they're recruiting Fijians.
This is fascinating. We do know there's a shortage of, in particular, aged care workers in Dubbo and across the nation. And so there's a particular business in Dubbo, I won't mention the business name, but there's a particular business that I went to the opening just recently of a new building they've just opened. And I had no idea that this business was doing what they're doing. They're marketing themselves directly in Fiji. So they don't advertise in Dubbo, they don't advertise around the local area. They advertise in Fiji because they need more people. Fijians then move from Fiji to Dubbo on a student visa initially. They'll do the 6 months training at this college, and then the plan is that they go and get a job in typically an aged care facility in Dubbo or the region, and they do that. There's about 30 new students that come in every 6 months, and the reason I was there was opening a new building because they're expanding, but I'm sitting there going, this is fantastic. Who knew that we've got a business in Dubbo that specifically markets in Fiji to bring people into our community to solve some of that problem? And we do talk often about one of the issues in Dubbo is not enough employees. Lots of employers are screaming out for more employees. Aged care facilities are no different, and so this is a direct way to solve that particular problem. So I thought that's a pretty good story in terms of Dubbo being out there on the international stage effectively.
For sure. I know Fletchers do something similar, don't they? They bring different people over to fill their gaps too. So this could be a good way of doing things.
Yeah, that's right. And most people are aware of Fletchers and the number of international employees they have. But this was one that I've never heard of before. Maybe that's my fault, but it's hard to know about every business in every situation in Dubbo. But that's just a really nice story, I thought. And I talked to one of the aged care facilities who was there at the opening as well. And they said, we love the fact that we've got this pipeline of people coming in, new employees coming in, some people that will do some work experience there during that 6 months of training they do. So, yeah, a great story. And it sounds like they're expanding and already expanded once, and they said they'll probably expand again in a couple of years' time.
All right, Matt, nice to catch up with you. Orange was a really good colour for the jumpsuit for you, by the way. I'm glad you're out and I'm glad you raised some money.
Yeah, thank you. I'll keep dreaming about you, Brett.
Yes, we'll catch up next week.